Hey, what's up, guys? I'm getting a little bit of a pump here on Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart. We got a nice engulfing candle. I didn't really get to spend too much time on the price today. I just kind of had one of those one-off videos. Maybe you've seen it. Basically, a rant, kind of just ranting on about, you know, energy and money and banks and corruption and crypto, I didn't really get to talk about the prize, but that's why most people come is for the prize, right? Not for the rent. But hey, once in a while is okay, right? Anyways, we got a 1-hour chart coming up, and I'm really looking at this. Either is a B wave, and then we get C, and then we go, or this is just going to come up and take the high. So essentially, let me just tone it down a little bit here. So I'm just kind of looking at the wave structure for a moment. Bear with me here. I think what we have here is, see, this isn't a 1-2. Obviously, this could be a 1-2, but I think this is part of a 3-wave correction. So that's 3 down, that's 3 up, and this is 3 back down, okay? That's what we've been talking about. So it's a WXY, sort of a running flat. And from here, we have a very nice impulse, potentially a wave 1, a wave 2, and now we're getting ready. Either this is going to be some sort of A, here, B, and then C, and then continue higher. And then here we have sort of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get some sort of flat here, right? So what we have is a 1, 2, right? 1, A, B, C, running flat for wave 2, and then we get that wave 3. So that's idea number 1, okay, for the short-term price action. Idea number 2 is it's the same thing, right? We have a W, X, Y running flat, but instead of that being a 1 with this being a flat here, what we have is the beginnings of a 3rd wave, right? So if this is a 1 and this is a 2, right, maybe this is 1 of the 3rd, and now we're going either 2 of the 3rd, or we're just going to go into the 3rd, right? So that's how I would look at that. So you have a 1, 2, and now we're going up into that third wave. Then you get 4, then you get 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's in the middle of that 3rd. Today's Friday, right? We're going into the weekend. Volume slows down. We got bearish divergence on the 1 hour. The 4 hour looks really good. As far as the RSI goes, we haven't gotten into oversold territory yet. Look how nice and tight all of these equal highs are, right? It's just begging to just do like one of those moves. Now, could it come back down and retest this area like it did over here and over here? Yes, of course. So we'll see how that plays out. But if you look at this is the main thing, is we're breaking out, right? We've officially made a higher high, right? Also a lower high, or lower low. The next order of business would be to get back to that 67, 70K area, right? So if we can do that, then I would imagine that's when we're going to get our correction, because this wave is going to finish, and we're going to get a correction, something like that. Okay, so it's all about when this finishes. right? So if we have, I mean, there's a couple different ways you can count it, but if you have a 1, 2, right, and you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and now we're in 5. So let me draw that a little better so we can see it a little bit more clearly. So 1, 2, all of that's 3. This is 4, right? Now we're going into 5. And 4 was a sort of a WXY running flat. Okay. And this is wave 1 of the 5th. We get wave 2, 3, 4, 5. Or it's actually beginning that wave 3 on the subwaves of this wave. So we probably got some if this is gonna, if that's the count, we got some upside momentum here at least, right? Because again, we got through this resistance right here. So, and we had a correction at the resistance. We had a running flat correction at the resistance, which means we've broken through it, which means the next one coming up is coming up between 67 and 70. So we have this gray area in the middle where we could have some continuation to the upside. But again, once we get there, you're going to want to sort of have a healthier correction. Because if this thing just, creeps up like this, very, very choppy and sort of, you're going to have a massive dump later on. Just like how this sort of kind of went up like this, dumped all the way down, right? So it needs that 3-wave move. Otherwise, you get a waterfall. So you want it to flag out. You need it to flag out, especially at resistance. If you break the resistance with no hesitation, you just slice right through it, then the problem with that is you can say, oh, look how strong it is. It broke out with no problem at all. The problem, though, is it's going to be looked at as a flat, right? So if this is some type of B wave, right? So we have A, this is a B, right? Or actually this whole thing is a B. So A, or W, right? A, B. And then you get C later on. So if that breaks wave A, you now have a flat. And it could be a running flat, it could be a regular flat, it could be an expanded flat, but eventually they'll all reverse. It's just, that's why you want to flag out. You don't want to just keep going, because then it turns into a trap. That's what they do. They want to make it look really good, right? So they just drill up the price, cracking through resistances without really any corrections. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of times you'll take out this high, right? You'll get up here, you have a little bit of a resistance, but you break it rather easily, and then you flag out later on. That's cool. That's great. But you need this, not this, not that, not the bottlenecking stuff. You want this type of move, right? So we'll see. All right, let's go to Theta here for a little bit. Now Theta's acting a little interesting. It doesn't look like it's finished. Remember, and this is another reason I think Bitcoin has a little bit more to go. We got a 1, we got a 2, we got a 3, we got a 4. Let's get 5. Let's get 5. Right? And that would complete our wave. Theta has a much more clear wave structure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That's 3. This is 4. Let's get 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's kind of what I'm thinking over the next several weeks, something like that, which would correspond to these equal highs right here, right? So I would just drag that out. That's where we're going. And if you look at what happened here, which is this right here, we could get something like that here too, right? Obviously an inverse head and shoulders. Usually you want it more cuppy. This is very like three wave-ish and then dumpy, instead of more like that, right? Or let's see if there's an example. Kind of like this here, right? Where it's nice and you have that that nice cup shape right there. I like that. Instead of something like this, right? There's no cup shape in that. It's not doing that sort of behavior. So that could be a little bit of a problem later on. We'll find out. But I don't think so, right? Obviously, the other one would be Wyckoff, but the more we stay above this high, the less likely that becomes. But it's not out of the ordinary. So, yeah, looking still really good. And then what from there, right? What then after that fact? Well, from there, I'm expecting, right? Well, first, let's turn the bull market support band on. That's important, right? And if we kind of get like a little bit of a visual here, we want to see something like this, as we want to see it continue off like that at a faster rate, right? Like sort of that degree. That's about, if straight up is 90 degrees, that's about what? Maybe an 80 degree. So we want it pretty sharp. That way, when we break out of here, right? Correct first, but then once we break out, we get met with our retracement levels, and then we flag out a little bit more seriously. Back testing the bull market support band, right? Just like how we did over here, right? You see we broke out, we had this expanded flat, we back tested the bull market support band, perfect. Or no, sorry, that was a running flat there. You know, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, flag out for wave 4, and our retracement levels hope, and then, you know, if we start dumping, obviously it's going to look like a B wave. But if we flag out, it's going to look like a fourth wave, right? Kind of like how Bitcoin looks right now, right? So where's Bitcoin flagging out at? It's flagging out at its previous all-time high it had back in 2021. Yes, it's a little bit higher. It's flagging out up here a little bit, just a little bit higher. But, you know, same thing. It's a fourth wave, right? So it's very common for the price to get to the retracement levels, and if you break through them rather easily, then you pay for it later on, right? Just because something breaks out and you're like, wow, that was strong, and you know, but eventually, you know, you're gonna have to pay it when the debt comes due, right? So you either sacrifice the time now and flag out, or when you break out like Bitcoin did above its all-time high, now we're paying the price of it flagging out. Look how long it's taking, right? Fourth waves are complex, and if you're dealing with a macro bull run, then it's even more complex, right? This is not some 4-hour, time frame. We've been correcting for the last 150 plus days now, and I feel like I've been saying that for a while, which is good. Which means we're coming. This is getting the time for decision, right? Because let me just throw up Bitcoin here. And you can see, I have to zoom way out. Remember, it ain't no 4-hour chart. This is the 4-day chart, right? So here's Bitcoin right there. And that's what I'm expecting Theta to do as well. So if I were to look at this as the price of theta, we would be, let's see, somewhere around, this spot right in here. I mean, we're at the bottom for theta, right? So for example, let me go back. Let me get rid of all that. You can see, let me just line it up here. So if Bitcoin, if Theta was going to do the same thing Bitcoin did, it would break out, it would go into that wave 2, which it hasn't done yet. It would continue higher, and then it would start to flag out, right? And then this is where Bitcoin is. This is where Theta is, right? If Bitcoin breaks out, then Theta gets to level up, go into that second wave, right? Bitcoin stays steady, Theta catches up. Bitcoin flags out a little bit, hits the high, right? Theta has that lucky chance of, really accelerating. And I'm saying this because when you zoom out, right, and we have to go to the chart. When we zoom out, it's really this chart that we're looking at, right? So this is sort of our flagging out for wave 2. Then we come up in wave 3, right? And then we flag out here for like what Bitcoin's doing, right? And then continue higher. So, but the thing is if Bitcoin breaks out, I think Theta moves a lot faster, right, than Bitcoin were. So it would happen fast, right? It might be after Bitcoin had already made its move, right? But still, it's going to be definitely an interesting time coming up. So that's what we got here for the price of Theta. I mean, let's look at the 10-minute chart. Let's just zoom all the way in here and take a look. Actually, let me go back. There we go. So, we're right in here. We're getting a little bit of a dump right now. Look at that. We're coming down. This kind of looks corrective, obviously, right? So I'm just trying to zoom out a little bit more. And yeah, so I mean, this is some kind of fourth wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We talked about that already. But what we didn't talk about is when we zoom in on this wave, what do we see? Let's do a little thought experiment here. Well, this to me looks like a 3-wave move. This to me looks like a 3-wave move. And what do you think comes next? Right? We'll go down, come back up, come back down. 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, go. Flat. Or, yeah, flat. Crypto loves to make flats. Flats are one of the most important corrections you got to learn. So 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, let's go. Right? This is the 5-minute chart, so we'll know by morning if this is right. So, what else could it be? Well, obviously, what it could be is it could be something more complex. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we have a 3-way move down, right? And then we get another 3-way move up, and then we get another 3-way move down later on. So it becomes more complex, right? And then we go